Welcome back to What's New. So many popular rides have come and gone through the years over at Cedar Point, but have you ever wondered what happens to these roller coasters once they actually leave the park?
Oh my gosh, sometimes they are demolished, but sometimes those rides are just sent off to other amusement parks to live on. And that's where our Mike Polk Jr. comes in. And Mike, we hear that you got to track one down. One of your favorite childhood
One of my
rides.
all-time faves, you guys.
Yeah.
Thanks for having me. Like many of you, when I was a child, I was fortunate enough to spend some time at Cedar Point on America's roller coast. So many great memories, so many great rides. But to me, there was one ride that stood above all others, literally then and metaphorically now. Sadly, the Demon Drop was removed from the park in 2009. But is anything ever truly gone? Not if I can Google it and hunt it down like a dog in the night. Here's my journey to reconnect with an old friend. In the mid-1980s, one particular Cedar Point thrill ride openly dared Northeast Ohio children to rush to the Amazement Park and experience sheer terror firsthand, should we be so brave.
A paralyzing plummet to earth at Cedar Point.
Debuting in 1983, the Demon Drop was a 10-story free-fall drop tower ride that stood sentry right at the front of the park, welcoming visitors and quickly establishing itself as one of the park's signature rides. I still remember the thrill of riding it for the first time as a kid, and the odd sense of loss I felt when I learned that it had been removed from the park, never to be seen again. But wait, it recently came to my attention that the Demon Drop in fact lives on. Where? Why, at Dorney Park in Wildwater Kingdom in Allentown, Pennsylvania, of course. When I learned that I was only about 6 hours away from this important part of my childhood, I somehow managed to convince my bosses to let me spend an entire workday driving to Allentown, Pennsylvania, so that I could ride a theme park attraction that I enjoyed in my youth. And the next thing I knew, I was cruising through the lush, windy Pennsylvania mountains on my way to a date with destiny. Demonic destiny. Do you hear that? It's my childhood calling. Let's go ride the Demon Drop. Once inside the park, the game was afoot. Thank you so much for inviting us out.
Absolutely.
I mean, well, I guess you didn't invite us out. We invited ourselves and you agreed to have us.
You sort of did.
Why do people like myself, sickies like myself, like this ride so much, do you think?
Well, I think it's nostalgia, right? It's something you rode when you were a kid in the 80s or the 90s, and so it's just bringing back memories.
Do you have an appreciation for this coaster, even though you're a relatively young person?
Meeting you has made me appreciate it more.
That's what I like to hear. I don't even care if you mean it. As fate would have it, I was not alone in my pilgrimage that day. I found another Demon Drop enthusiast. What's your name, sir?
Stephen Strange,
Stephen Strange, and you are in from where?
Canton, Ohio.
That's an awesome shirt, and I will talk about maybe making a deal for that in the parking lot after this. We'll talk. Don't say anything until you heard my offer.
Right.
Why is the Demon Drop so important to you?
The memories from the 80s, and that was the main thing. We always went to Cedar Point to ride, so I just wanted my kids to experience the same thing.
To see it here again is very cool, very nostalgic, and it's making me anxious to get on this thing. Do you mind if we actually take this thing for a swing?
Oh man, let's go.
All right, let's rock it. And then suddenly, there she was. There she is, the old girl, looking just like she did in 1983. Haven't aged a day, sweetheart. You remember me? Huge fan, Demon Drop. Glad to see that we're still both kicking. I remember the smell, remember this fear. The kids who just strapped me in were not alive yet when this machine was created. Comforting. Woo. Still not smooth. Here we go, everybody. She hasn't aged a day. Oh, the tire. That doesn't look like it should be a part of this. Woo! Oh, my! A classic! It's always great reconnecting with an old friend. This is Mike Polk, partying like it's 1989 for 3 News. Thank you to the gang from Dorney Park for having me. They were very accommodating. Great park. Everybody should check it out. And that is one of only 4 remaining free fall rides that are left in the world. The only one in North America.
Wow.
There are 2 in Japan and 1 in Italy, and we got the only one on the
The
continent.
things we learn from you. Now,
Right.
the biggest question I have, and the Jay had, did you put the quarter on your knee?
That was something that people used to do back then, for those of you who might not be aware, and then you could watch it float while you were falling.
It would levitate.
And screaming and whatnot. I asked them if I could do that, and they said, we'd really prefer if you didn't put loose change on your lap while we film you going down in this thing.
How
That
much
seems fair.
money did they find under
Can you
the Demon
imagine?
Drop?
That's probably what kept Cedar Point like going through the 80s.
Yeah,
It's
the
just all
tough
change
80s, yeah.
They found. But it was a blast, and it was really cool reconnecting with that old ride.
Oh my God.
Great seeing it again.
And
Yeah.
just that feeling when you just go out
That's the thing.
and you're
you
sitting
wait.
there for a second. It's
One,
that moment of
2,
anticipation,
3.
and then boom.
You know what else did it for both Betsy and I? The click.
Yep.
Yeah.
Click, 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 click. It was
Yep.
like I was right back on that ride.
Just the same.
Mike, well done.
Thanks. It was fun. It was a great
Great
trip.
trip.